Good evening, everybody. So let us start our lecture tonight. But before I start my lecture tonight, I apologize that my last lecture was not recorded. At the end of the lecture, my computer was restarted automatically. I did not know that it was going that. Okay, so I could not save. Okay, so it's a bad network. Okay. So I could not save my video in my last lecture. So today quickly I will review those, and then as I mentioned, if you do not see something recorded, so you can go to my previous section, like for instance Spring 2020 lecture video. So this series, you see that it has 27 videos. So that means if you open this one, you should get welcome to other videos. For instance, in our last lecture we discussed reference parameters. So then if you go to this playlist and then if you do search command plus F or control plus F, then type in reference parameter, you see that if you are, as soon as you put in ref, that you will tell us the string operation and call by value, call by reference parameter. So yesterday, day before yesterday, in our last lecture, I discussed mainly. So the last 30 minutes from this video should be good for you if you missed that lecture. Good evening. Okay, so that this video last few minutes, maybe last 30 minutes or something. Okay. So, and I also discussed in our last lecture class and then class object something, everything is here in this for instance this one, class object constructors, setters and getters. So these two videos I worked in last lecture. So if you need to recap, so you always can go to my previous lecture video and then you can watch from there. Is what? Yeah. What is that? No.
It was just off.
No, I did one. But
it didn't turn on. That's weird. It might not have been all the way over. Sometimes you get caught in the middle.
No. Oh, thank you. Sorry.
No problem. It's a new setup for everybody.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. So I have some old videos. You can always watch from there, and also that if you want to go ahead of us, then you can watch from video from there. Okay. So we are although reshuffling this course this year, but 80% content will be same. Okay. So so far, how is going this course? Listen, anyone has any negative feedback? I would not mind. Okay, if you have any negative feedback, yes. Huh? Yeah, what can I do? I told you that I am not a native English speaker, right? I told that maybe at the very beginning that I am not a native English speaker. In this class, that good thing. Okay, in this class, I am not teaching English. I am not teaching math, right? And also I am not teaching you programming. I will be teaching how to walk on the field of programming. But in order to be succeeded in this course, you need to learn how to run on the field of programming. I usually tell this story again and again into all sections. Maybe I did not tell you that when we were little baby, recall that when we were little baby, okay, so our parents taught us how to walk, right? They hold our hand or finger and they taught us how to walk, right? Even we do so. If we have a little baby, a brother or sister or siblings or niece or any relative, we hold their hand or finger to teach them how to walk or run. work, right? Do we teach them how to run? It's not needed, right? It is expected that if a baby is healthy, he or she should learn himself or herself how to walk, how to run. So in this course, I will just tell you, I will just teach you how to walk in the field of object-oriented programming. I will help you to build a good foundation of object-oriented programming, okay? But foundation means there are some pillars, right, for this building. But are only the pillars or foundation are sufficient to build a building? No, it needs other materials. It needs walls, it needs partitions, right? So I will help you to only build the foundation. Then you will do what you will do. You will do practice. That's it. If you do practice, then you will learn yourself. How many of you have GitHub account? Can you please raise your hand? How many of you have GitHub account? GitHub. You didn't hear the GitHub? Okay, let us go Wikipedia. So what is GitHub? So this is called GitHub. Okay, how many of you have account here? I wish everybody should have account here. You must need to create an account. If I would teach this course in or a higher level course, and maybe I'm going to teach next semester, graduate level course, I would require to have GitHub account. So GitHub is like a Dropbox or OneDrive or Google Drive. You save everything over there, right? It's remote drive. So it's a remote repository. If you go to work in a company or in a team, nobody will allow you to use a flash drive to copy code. Okay? So GitHub is an online repository that allows you to store your repository, and also it helps you to keep the track of changes. If you need to go back to a previous version, then you can go that quickly. I like everybody to have a GitHub account and enrich your GitHub account with some repositories. You see that if I go for an interview or if I apply for a job, actually almost all recruiters or the interviewer, they ask for your GitHub account. So if I give my GitHub account, that for instance, I have multiple GitHub accounts. One of this is CSITEd experts. If I give my GitHub account, so then you see that I have 153 projects. Repository means one of these projects. Some of these projects have 100 programs. So then I have several thousand complete programs over here. So anyone see my program over here, my GitHub account? In a second, they can guess that how much practice I do. Okay, and you see that some projects, you see that some project, it has the up and downs. You see that bump. That bump says that at this point I did some changes in my folder, in my project. And you see that someone has bump here. That at this time I worked. So within a second, anyone can guess. The straight line is going on. That means for a long time I have not working on it. So you see that I have here 153 projects, but if someone goes to my account, like I have many project private, so only I will be able to see this. I have my personal resume and other stuff in these private folders that I don't like to share anyone. So if anyone goes to my GitHub account, they will see that, for instance, you see my GitHub account, it has 82, so privates are not shown over here, only public projects are shown. So still someone say 82 projects I have, right? So in 82 I have several thousands programs written in several languages. I have Java, I have C#, C++, Python. So I like everybody to enrich your GitHub account. Everybody has a goal to get a good job, right? right? If you go for an interview, I am confident that if you do well in this course, if you get an A in this course, you are good to get an internship job in next summer. Just whatever you learn in this course, you will pass, you will crack a job interview in this right after you finish this course. Okay, but it needs a lot of practice for you. That I cannot help you unless you help yourself. Okay? Anyone has any question so far? Okay, so let us go to our schedule first. So according to our schedule, so this week we had 3 things to cover: reference parameter, static modifiers, and ArrayList, that is also, that has a class also iterators. So maybe that I will not be able to start this, but I will be able to finish these 2 topics, and I will quickly review the reference parameter in our last lecture that I could not save the recording lecture. Okay, so if I go to our lecture slides, okay, by the way, we posted some old exams copy. So here if you go to click on this link, so you see that there are some old exam copy here, like spring 2020. So there are 4 tests, 1, 2, 3, 4, but this time you will be have 3 tests. So if you please go to this test, you will see that these are the true copy of exam the last time we did. You may have some idea that what kind of questions you will be asked in your test. Practice this from this, okay? Okay, let us go to our slides. So our slides, this time we have reference parameter and garbage. Okay, garbage collection is that compiler automatically or operating system automatically does that whenever we declare a variable or an object, if its lifetime is over, that is, if it's done its work, it's no longer needed, then the system throw that out, clean that up, that space. That help us to make our program faster. Okay, Java has automatic garbage collector, but older languages like C++ did not have built-in garbage collector, so that used a destructor. It called it method destructor that destructed or clean up the object whenever it was not needed. That was called. Okay, but in Java and C#, they call the garbage collector automatically, so we don't need to have headache. So that's much. So in our last lecture, we discussed reference parameter. The reference parameter is there are 2 methods that we use to call a function using parameters. One is called call by value, another is called call by reference. Through call by value, okay, so then we pass parameter over here. So we pass parameter over here, okay, and this is here. For instance, we discussed in our last lecture, maybe refleet. Okay, so what is that call by value? Okay, so reference parameter. If you search for reference parameter, this one maybe. Okay, by the way, call by value and call by reference. Okay, we need to understand that C# and there's a mistake over here. C#. Okay, Java uses only pass by value or call by value, and C# uses both call by value and call by reference. Okay, so as we discussed in our last program, what is the main difference? C# and Java both uses both call by value and call by reference. C++ and C#. C++ uses pointer to do this call by reference method, okay, but C# does not have pointer, Java does not have pointer, at all. So C# use different keyword. That is called, one is called ref keyword, another is called out keyword. These two keywords are used to execute call by reference, and Java does not have either pointer or ref or out. So Java use only call by value. So the main difference between call by value and call by reference is that through call by value, through call by value, the call method or guest method cannot change the caller's or host property, host value. So I gave an example, this one, right? So here my doIt is my method. I'm calling this method within my main method. So main is the caller method or host method, and then doIt is my guest method. So here I put y is a reference. That means y is a reference type. So then what will happen? Through this, if I make any change of the second argument here inside this method, that will be changed also the associated variable here, argument in the main method. That in call by reference, I told the story that you can remember in a way that in a call by reference, your guest have the access to change your property, full access. But usually we do not like that kind of guest, right? So we use usually call by value method. So how this program will be called by value method? Just two single changes. So just get rid of the ref keyword, it will be called by value. I like everybody to practice this program. You will get a test question. But many students mistake. I tell this story every time, but at least 40% students do mistake. Maybe this is critical thing, too difficult to remember. So the one thing to do is just practice. Take a piece of paper. Before you run the program, try to guess what will be the output, and run the program and match your output. And one thing, that call by reference is only applicable for C#. So people who are taking Java lab also need to understand this. You cannot tell that I'm taking Java lab, so I don't know this. No, because in this course we are learning two things, right? Two programming languages, both C# and Java. So it is requirement. So in our last lecture, I went through ref, and there is also, it's called, we can use out. Instead of ref keyword, we can also use out keyword. There is a slight difference between ref and out keyword. So if you use out, then you do not need to initialize that variable here. So here a is used as out, so you do not need to initialize. You can keep it uninitialized. But if it is ref, then you must need to initialize this. For instance, y equal to here, y is ref, right? We need to initialize. So if you just put just y is uninitialized, right? It will not work. So it will give you an error. You see that error? Y is uninitialized, so you must initialize it. But if you say out over here, it should work. Somewhere there is a problem. Where is that one? I have example over there, but let me give an example. So if you do Google search C# ref versus out keyword, it has a good, maybe Greek or Stack Overflow, If you go here, and you will see the difference between ref and out keyword. So the ref modifier means that the value is already set and the method can read and modify it. The out modifiers means that the value is not set and can be ready to by the method until it is set. Okay, cannot be ready. Okay, the method must set it before. This is the difference. Okay, so please practice, try to understand this and then practice this program. Okay, that's it. Now let us go to the next slide. So our next version will be yes, when I use out, yeah, so this is why I asked you to read this understand. Okay, sorry, because I have to go through a lot of stuffs. Just read the slides. Okay, if you don't understand, maybe in our next lecture I can come in, but it is clear. We have example here and I'm showing you the slides. Okay? It has some examples here also. Okay, it has some examples. Okay. Let's say yes. Okay, static modifier. Okay, static, sometimes we make a variable or a method as static. Okay, there are two concepts, static and dynamic. Okay, static means, you understand the meaning. What is in English, what is meant by static? Not moving, right? Or fixed, like constant, right? Not exactly constant, right? Not dynamic, right? Okay, so the concept is that sometime when we declare class, create a data type, but for some variable we may need a common value. Okay, so let me ask you, what is your measure? Intended measure. What is your intended measure? What is your intended measure? Okay, maybe let us think that all of you have intended measure computer science, right? So if I know that all of you have intended computer science major, then it is a full question for me to ask you what is your major, what is your major, what is your major. Same answer, right? So instead of asking or assigning major for all of you individually, it would be nice for me to have a common major and apply that common major to all of you, right? That is the thing that is implemented by static variable. Yes. Yeah, we can change it. Okay, we can change it, but not during program execution time. Whenever, if you want to make a different implementation, you can do that. But this is why a static variable is called a class variable, not for instance. So since for all instance it's same kind and have the same value, so we don't need to make it instant by instant, student by student. Instead of, we can say for all there is a common value, that is common field, common value. So this goes by class level. Okay. For instance, everyone here, all of you have your institution name KSU, right? KSU is your institution, right? Your school. So in our system, it should be nice that we would say for everyone that institution is KSU. We don't need to give entry for all of you these things, right? Okay, that is why that is one thing that is called we use a static. Static is used one for there are several purposes that we use statics. One thing is that we make a common value for all across the all instances or object of a class. Sometimes we use static to make a common field, like declare a constant. Okay, and also we make a method static so that method can be called by his class name, not for individual object name, throw by individual, because static is for class level, that is common level, top level, that is common for all. Okay, so maybe if I have my last program, so okay, so this program I discussed in our last lecture. So it has, you see that it has main method is always static. Okay, by in general an instance of a class or a method of a class is called by using its object with dot operator. You see that, how did I call the set name? We said d2 dot set name equal to Teddy, right? Similarly for d3, if I want to assign name for the d3 object, I would do d3 dot set name equal to d3. For d3 I set name carry. Okay, so similarly for d4 I named it Teddy. Okay, so here in general for this set method is non-static, so every object is responsible to call the non-static method. But as we said that if it is static, that means it is applicable for the whole class. Okay, then we don't need to call this way, we will call this method by its class name. Okay, let me see if I have any, so in order to save time, let me see if I have any example. I should have many examples. So static, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, static attribute in C# or in Java, static test example 1 in Java, I have C#. Okay, so almost all programs I have written in both two languages. Like just search over here with a keyword, you should get actually an program. Okay, that's good. So here we say here public static int I static, that means we use the static here in order to make constant. I static is constant. Okay, here you see that this is non-static method, there is no non-static. In order to make a method static, just we use static keyword in both C# and Java. Okay, so this method is static. That means, for instance, remember that, for instance, okay, this method is called static method, then this is also another static method. So here is my main method. Okay, so for main method, if you want to call a non-static method, okay, then you can create by its object name. For instance, okay, I did something. For instance, let me create an object of this. Okay, it has shortcut. So static test. How can I make an object? Static test. This is my class name. Okay, you see that this is my class name. That is class name. Then let me give maybe ts1 equal to new static test. This is my, I'm sorry, I got it 2 times. Okay, semicolon, right? So the name now how I will call non-static method. I will call non-static method by through its object name, right? Object name dot method name. This is the way to call non-static method. This is the way to calling a non okay, So non-static method is called by every individual object, but static method is common, right? Then it is called, for instance, which one is my static method? This one is static method. It is called by its class name. Okay, a static method is called always by its class name, because static method is available for all objects. Okay, but in this world there are some people who are famous or renowned nationwide or international. Like for instance, our current president, Honorable President Trump, right? Everybody, if you go to my home country, Bangladesh, there is several thousand miles from here, or India or China. If you ask little baby who is Trump, they know that he is the US president, right? If you ask them who is Barack Obama, even the little boy, they know that he is the former president of the States, right? There are many famous people. Okay? Maybe there are many, maybe 100 people's name Barack Obama, right? But there is one Barack Obama who is famous nationwide, right? So if you say that the Barack Obama of US Barack Obama, Trump of US, then people will guess that, oh, he is the president of the US, right? So these people, they are famous by their name. Even they don't need to mention their country, right? Or their state or city. So those people like our static class or static member is like those are famous. Understand? So like if we say the Barack Obama, then you will understand that I'm mentioning the former US president, right? So same thing, this one is static method. Okay, like for instance, which one is static method? Here, this one is static method, right? So I will call, for instance, I want to call this static method. So then how do I call this? I want to say static method 1. How do I call it? I can call this way, static st1. You see that the yellow or green, right? Green underlines, that means this will be a warning. This will be a warning, not an error message. If your program has a warning, it can run. Sometimes, most of the time, in most compiler it will run, but this will give you a warning. Somewhere it should have a warning. Okay, so this is a warning. Okay, so that means, do we see that message over there? The static method from the static method should be accessed statically. See that? This one. I'm asking your attention to. Oh, is it gone? I'm sorry. Okay, I'm asking your attention to here. I want to highlight it. How can I highlight it? Okay. I cannot do it. Okay, so you see that? So it is giving me a warning. It says that the static method test method 1 from the type, type means class. Okay, class is a type, data type, static test in my type should be accessed in static way. What is mean by static way? What is mean by static way? Yes, throw by class name. Okay, so that means if I say Barack Obama of USA, people will understand who I am referring to, right? So he is If I say Barack Obama of USA, then everybody will not understand that I'm referring to the former president, right? So that means I will call this. It will not give an error, but it said I'm violating the static. I have a good way. So for instance, my class name is here. Then I will use that class name. I'm sorry. My class name is this one. So instead of this one, I will use this, and then the warning is gone. Okay. One thing is that this is one way. Okay, so this is one way. Another thing is that since a static method is, I said nationwide, means class-wide, right? Its scope is class-wide. Okay, so what is that called? Okay, cannot find symbol static method 1. Okay, let me see it. Okay, what is that called? So this is can access non-static from another class. So this is, maybe I have got this one. Let me explain it. So this is the code, that shortcut way to create an object on the fly without giving name. Sometimes in the program you will see this code, use that. But for instance here, that means I am creating an object instantly and without giving the object name, that I am using that. Okay, but in shortcut, without this, so also we can make our like this, our object. So instead of creating this, using this over here, I could use the whole thing, this thing, within a parenthesis. So this is that what I have here. Okay, so I like you, please go through these slides. Okay, there are a few examples. Let me see if I have some examples over here. Okay, I discussed static variable and I discussed static method. Okay, there are some common static methods. For instance, mathematical, absolute method, minimum, maximum, square root. These are the built-in static method in C++, C# and Java compiler as I have. So yeah, we will use this, but do some practice like this. Okay, one thing that we know that our main method is always made as a static method. You understand, right? So that if our method is made static, then it is not required to create an object to call that method. Let me find, if I find another example. Static. Okay, so I have code also over here, you see, with C#, and I have also in C++. So people, yeah, Java, please practice this. Okay. Static test, what is that one? Oh, this is the what I discussed. That is not something. Okay. I got it. static with C sharp. Okay. Sometime a static variable is used, for instance, for special purpose. Like for instance, if we want to keep track of how many objects is being created, how many objects are created, right? If I have a class, I'm creating objects whenever necessary here. I want to keep a track how many objects are created. In that case, we can use static variable. Okay, the static variable is used class-wise. So this has example. For instance, so where we will use this, so that we will increment that in the constructor method. So as long as we will use constructor, call the constructor, and then we use this statement. For instance, dog counter over here initially is 0. So every time I will call this dog object, dog constructor, it will be incremented by 1. Even if I call this dog, it will be incremented by 1. This single statement, what it will do, it will tell me how many dog objects is being created. So let us do, so here if I say d1, okay, d1 equal to new d1. So now if I call this method dog counter, can anyone guess what will be my output from this program? Let us see that. Let us do this one. This one and this one I'm using same thing, same up. Okay, different. I'm using this constructor, argumented constructor or overloaded constructor, and for this one I am using default constructor, right? So no matter which constructor I use, for both constructors I incremented the dog counter. That means every time I create a dog object, I am incrementing the dog counter. Initially the dog counter was 0, right? So that means every time I am creating a dog object, my dog counter is being incremented. Okay, so with that concept in mind, can we try what will be my output here for this one? Actually here you see that I am calling dog counter, right? This is dog, my class name, right? I'm calling this static variable by its class name. Since I will not set d1 dot because it is violation, we said, right? We saw that. I'm saying giving dog counter. I'm using same statement here 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I like you, so you see that I like you to guess what will be my output for this statement. I'm giving you a minute to think. Anyone has an answer? What is the? Please speak loudly. So where is 5? Okay, what is this parameter? The good question. So it is, I'm giving ID, dog ID 5. This dog has ID 2, this dog has ID 5, this dog has ID 25, and this dog does not have any ID. My question is that whether should I get same value for dog counter or different value for dog counter? What do you guess? Huh? Because it should not be different, because this is for dog class wide. Okay, so let us run this program. Okay, let me see. Okay. Okay, so I changed my program code. So here you see the dog counter is first one dog is created, right? the dog counter is getting 1, right? When another dog is created, the dog counter is getting 2. When another dog is created, dog counter is getting 3. When another dog is created, dog counter is getting 4. Another for dog counter is 5. So every time, so if I create another dog, for instance another 2 other dogs like 5, for instance 6, maybe 7, maybe 8. Okay, all of my dogs have ID 25, no problem, right? So what will be my output over here? Now will be it still 5? No, here it was 5, then it was 6, 7, 8. Okay, because every time I'm calling my dog constructor, it is increasing is dog counter by 1, right? So at this point I had dog 5 over here, then it was 4 over here, right? It's 5, then 6, 7, 8. Okay, so previously actually my program was like this. Before I ask you this question, actually my program was okay, if I have like this, I have this, I have this, and I have this. Okay, then what will be my output here? And here, what will be my output? 5, right? I have 5 observers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, every time it was 5. That was my question. Okay? You understand that? What is the reason? Even I'm printing it every time, that is giving me same output. Anyone has any question? Anyone has any question so far? Okay, you will get a test question. Okay, there is an interview question. Okay, common interview question. Can a static member call a non-static? Okay, there is another interview question. Can a non-static member call a static member? Yeah. There is a tricky interview question. Please write it down. Okay. So if you do good in interview, most probably you will get this. If you do bad in interview, you will not ask. This is hard interview question. Excuse me. Can you hear me? Please come forward. Yes. I'm going to take 2 minutes break, okay? Right. Yeah, I told you that my class policy from the beginning, I strictly prohibited social networking or any other activities in this course. As long as you come here, I like you to be focused on it. Okay? I'm recording this my lecture. There is no attendance point requirement, so you don't need to come here if you do not give attention. You understand my policy? If you have something urgent, please do that. There is maybe upstairs there is couch or something, very comfortable places, and many good places. Please go there and do your stuff. But as long as you are spending your time, spending your money, right? Maybe your money or someone, your parents' money or someone is beloved money or government money, right? Some money you are spending, I don't like that you misuse your money. As long as you are here, your time is important for you, okay, valuable. I like everybody to be attention here, please. And if you don't like this class, you are good to go, right? I'm not enforcing you to stay here. Yeah, thank you for your understanding and kind cooperation. I don't like to tell this every day, but I want to see this implemented. This is the only course you will learn object-oriented programming. This is the foundation. Okay, so if you have good foundation in this course, then you will be good in programming, in all other courses in computer science and software engineering. But it may be reason that you know this or you know better than me. It may happen. There are some student I found, he knew good, better than me when I was a student like you. Maybe 20 years ago, I was a student like you. Our professor, they did not have like this kind of technology. They could not show us live program. Okay, our professor, they did not have any, and he was a nationwide renowned professor, but he did not have any experience in working as a software engineer, working actual programming. Okay, we just read book and wrote the program on board. We used in that time chalk and duster. You see chalk? Chalk and duster not like marker pen like today, okay? And you are lucky that you are getting live code and you are getting videos and then bunch of programs code, right? Ready-made programs code. I have thousands of programs code. So thousands, more than 1,000 programs. Several thousand. If I count all of my programs, there will be more than 10,000. That might not be beneficial for you if you do not practice. I like everybody to succeed. But if you think that you know this better, you don't need to stay here. So from the online people, anyone has any question? Okay, now we are heading to the next slide, collection. Okay, so as you are familiar with array, how many minutes I do have? 15 minutes, right? As you are familiar with, maybe 10 minutes I need, array, right? What are the advantages or disadvantages of using an array? Let us consider the advantages of an array. What are the advantages? Yes, all data stays together, right? So then they can be accessed through index and easy. If all data stay together, it's easy to access, right? Okay. Okay, let us consider with that one advantage. That is major advantage. Okay. Did you notice any disadvantage of array? Huh? Yes. It's normal arrays are static. Okay. That means once you create an array, when you declare an array, while your program is running, right? While your program is running, then you cannot change the array size. Okay. So that is a major disadvantage. So then you may say that okay, I will stop my program and then I will change it. But for all users may not have access to the actual program code. We use a lot of apps and programs, right? We do not have actual source code, right? Do we have actual source code? We in our like phone or computer, we use a lot of apps. We just use the final version, okay, a compressed version of that. We do not get this access and the access of source code, right? So we cannot change the size. For instance, if you remember, or you know that, like there about 15 years ago, I had a mobile cell phone, Nokia, it's called Nokia phone, 5 or something. That had limitation to save only 250 contacts. Okay, that was working for a few months more for me, and then by the time I became professor, then I was saving my friends and then some students' phone numbers. Okay, it got full. Okay, that it did not allow me to save more than 500 or more than 250 contacts. So because that program was designed with the static array that has size 250, right? But now we're lucky that in our phone we can save those to our account, right? We can the iCloud account. You can say, hey, I have maybe 1,000 more than 1,000 contacts. But it's not going to be ended, right? So this is dynamic. So that is a major limitation, that we cannot change the array length or size of a static array. So in order to resolve that issue, there is a dynamic array. Dynamic array is implemented in several ways. One of the core is called linked list. So maybe at the end of this second half of this course, you will learn how to implement your own linked list. Especially when you take your data structure course, you will use linked list a lot. Okay, for most of the like modern programming languages like Java and C#, they have a built-in linked list. They call ArrayList. Okay, what ArrayList is, that it's a simple one-dimensional array. So it has the ability. So it is the feature is that its size is not fixed. It grows automatically and it shrinks down automatically. Whenever, for instance, in Java, when you create like ArrayList like this, ArrayList is by default is a class name. Okay, and then you are giving, I will discuss this about later. Okay, but for now let us focus this one. ArrayList name equal to new ArrayList, and let us keep this for now. And then this is my constructor I'm calling. Okay, so for now this names, it initially with Java it takes 10 initial capacity. But whenever you go to the 10th or 9th object, okay, you add 9 object, it will be automatically expanded. Okay, it will be automatically expanded. And in C#, it will get, for instance, 16, and then it will be automatically expanded. Capacity will be expanded automatically. So this is nice, right? Right, we don't need to. So one limitation of having static array, another limitation is that there is a scope of misuse of memory. For instance, if you want to add use case system thought that there would be 5,000 students this year new student time. Okay, they created room for 5,000 students, but ultimately they got 50 students only. So that 4,050 rooms are empty, right? Misuse, right? So that is limitation of static array. Okay, kind of. So if it is, I'm sure that how many data will be handled, limits will be handled. So then in that case, there is a scope to. Did I change this? Okay, now this is good. Okay, so ArrayList. Okay, this is the difference between array and ArrayList. Okay, an array is fixed size and ArrayList is variable size. An array hold only primitive data type and ArrayList hold objects. Okay, and holds is homogeneous. An array has homogeneous data, but ArrayList called specific type. Okay. Okay, so how many slides I do? 13. Let me go to the slides again, then I will come back with a live program if I have a few minutes. So there are some methods, built-in methods in C# and Java in order to add or remove elements to an array list. So for instance, add this method in Java and this method in uppercase in C#. This method remove in Java and remove add, this is in C#. So this is in Java. This is in Java, this is in C#. Okay. So there is another difference. So C# uses the square bracket to make index, and Java uses get method. Okay. Okay. Then with ArrayList, there is an advanced for. Everybody is familiar with for loop, right? For loop, we use a lot for loop. So there is a for loop. This is called for each. Okay, for each is a built-in another for loop that can be used to iterate or go through an array list. For instance, if we say for each student S1 in classroom, this is, for instance, this will be my array list. In this array list, I don't need to know ahead of time how many objects it has. I'm saying for all student. Okay, for all object or for all student in array list, in student list, in this classroom, do something like this or print their name. Okay, you see the difference little bit. C# it use in, and in Java it uses colon sign instead of in. There's a minor difference. And Java we can use for. It also has for each also. Okay, you please try these programs, and it has the program here. You see here. Let me see the two programs here, one in Java and on C#. I like everybody to practice these two programs. Okay, so it has for and for each. Example here, you see that. Let me see. And the last slide is about Iterator. Iterator is also, there is a built-in class. Okay, that is called Iterator. It is used to traverse or go through all elements of an array list. It has few methods. One is called next, and another is called has next. Okay, these two methods, has next especially and next, these are used frequently. Okay, has next method. Okay, I'll show you. If I have an example. Has next method, it types example is boolean. It returns either true or false. Okay. Has next method returns true or false. It says that it goes ahead. Okay, for some people who are like very important people, okay, the president or so for this kind of people, in order to give them a score, right? Some police officers they go ahead, right? See that? Listen that? If there is president coming here, the US president, for instance, for example, they are an advanced force, right? They come sometimes even for emergency. You see that? That like troops or they give signal that right is clear, environment is safe, right? Okay. So this for next, it has next method is kind of uses that. It gives a signal yes, true or false. It says that while iterator, this means is an iterator object, iter. Okay, iter dot has next. That means while true. While iter has an element. Then do something. Okay, go to next method. That's go next. For instance, why we walk in a state? Okay, so we first will always look the state, right? If there is another state, be careful about me. So we see that if there is a state, then I will put my way over there, right? It must stay over there. But if there is nothing, I shouldn't do that, right? So that has next method does that. Okay, it pre-checks. It goes one step ahead always. Okay, and then if it finds true, then the next method it goes to the next. Okay, so when we use this iterator class is a built-in class. Okay, so it is related to an array list. It's related to an array list. It is developed especially to iterate an array list. Okay, it does not work for other types. and say you see that iterator, whatever the iterator variable you can, your object name you are giving. So while that object dot has next, do something with next. These two common method has next and next you will use maybe in the assignment or somewhere. I will see. Okay, please do some practice for this. Okay, and anyone has any question so far? Okay, I'm giving you some homework, so please do this practice. Okay, especially is we posted last year test question. Okay, here old exams 1322, and I like everybody to go through this test question and see whatever you have in syllabus, this schedule. Okay, so practice this program. For instance, this program. Okay, you practice not only plus plus x but also plus plus minus minus x, x minus. This is only incremental operator, right? You also practice for decremental operator. You also practice for prefix, postfix, all possible. For instance, here x plus plus, if I would give y plus plus, plus plus y, what would be the difference? Okay, in your test you will not be allowed to use what is it called, an ID, right? And so you have to understand the code. Okay, you can run the program and go and then trace, take a piece of paper and trace the output and learn and understand. For instance, this one we should maybe I discuss something like this string operation. Okay, this is the question I discussed, right? Today I discussed this question and last question. Okay, so for this one, try with as reference ref x as ref. Try use ref for both x and y. Okay, or only x, only y. Try also this with out, using out here. Okay, so our schedule has module has shifted from up to and down. So for before you test, so please check all of these test questions, previous test question, and solve it. Okay, and okay, so in our next lecture we will discuss inheritance. Okay, so I could not start it here today. We will discuss inheritance in our next lecture. Okay, so the test one is coming on September 14, right? Test one. This is the test one date. Yeah, test one will be up to module 1 to 3. Okay, so module 1 to 3 up to this in your test one. Okay, before actually week, from week 4 until week 4. So we are in second week, right? We are in second. We have passed the second week and 2 more weeks that will contain in your test. We have not decided the test mode yet, but we will decide what kind of test we need. So anyone has any questions so far? Okay, thank you everybody. And people from the online, has anyone any question? Okay, thank you so much.
The first test is on the 14th. Yes. And the tests are all
We have not decided yet.